Hi everybody, Jackie here with another chocolate chunk of NLP, a nice small yummy piece of very usable NLP insight. Now, actually what I'm going to talk to you about today doesn't come directly from the NLP canon, as it were. However, it does demonstrate how NLP can be used. So one of the things that we learn when we learn NLP is how the unconscious mind works and how we are all programmed in our responses, how we respond automatically to various triggers, various situations, how our memories work with that. And actually, we're just a bunch of programs that make it quick and easy for our unconscious mind to provide the already embedded response to a certain trigger. So the way that we behave, the way that we react, we don't have to think about it very much because our unconscious mind already has the program for us to be able to respond in the way that it's been taught and that it knows and does for us. Now, sometimes the way that we behave or respond isn't very useful. It's not, a great way to be reacting or behaving at that time. And a pattern interrupt is a technique that's used in NLP to change and stop that particular way of behaving. And pattern interrupt is what I'm going to talk about today, really. And it comes in the form of a story. Now, many years ago, I was a team leader in a contact centre. I managed a sales team of mortgage advisors, and the contact centre manager was a guy called Lindsay Tasker, an amazing guy, really, really good leader, such a good manager of people. And one day I came back to my desk to find that Lindsay had left a book for me. And this was something he would do. He would either stop by your desk and have a chat, or sometimes he'd leave you something that just got you thinking. And he'd left this book on my desk, and it's called The Art of Possibility by a couple called Ben and Ros Zander. That's Zander. It's an amazing book. It's about these two people. If I remember rightly, Ben is the director of learning for the Junior Boston Philharmonic Orchestra. So he teaches young people instruments in the Philharmonic Orchestra and holds those classes. And his wife is a therapist. So the book is basically telling you about how they interact with the people they work with or that they teach, and how they support them to be the best versions of themselves that they can be. Now, one chapter in the book is devoted to this story that I'm going to tell you, and it's called Rule Number 6. So, there are two prime ministers. There's a host prime minister and a visiting prime minister. And they're in the prime minister's chambers and they are discussing affairs of state. Now, once they've been talking for a while, this particular morning, suddenly someone comes bursting through the door, arms flailing, gesticulating, shouting, "I'm not going to put up with this anymore, Prime Minister. This is a terrible state of affairs," and getting themselves into a bit of a state. The Prime Minister says, "Tom, remember rule number 6. And as he says it, Tom immediately quietens down, becomes calm, says, "Thank you, Prime Minister," and leaves the room. So the two prime ministers carry on talking, and a little while later, again the door flings open, someone comes rushing in. "I'm not going to put up with this anymore, Prime Minister. We shouldn't be working like this. This is a terrible state of affairs." Flying her arms all over the place, and the Prime Minister says, "Marie, remember rule number 6. Marie immediately calms down, says, "Thank you, Prime Minister," and calmly leaves the room. And as the morning goes on, this happens again. Now, the visiting Prime Minister can't keep this in any longer. He says, "Please, please tell me. I've never seen anything like this before. How's that happening? Tell me, what is rule number 6? So the Prime Minister says, "Rule number 6 is, don't take yourself so goddamn seriously." The visiting Prime Minister says, That's a very interesting rule indeed. So tell me, what are the other rules? And the Prime Minister says, there aren't any. And that's the story. Basically, there's just one thing. Now, that is a great example of a pattern interrupt that's actually been embedded. Now, I shared that story so many times. I continue to share the story, and I'm sharing it today with loads of people, especially those that I worked with in the contact centre. And every now and again, I would hear, remember rule number 6? And everything will calm down. It's a really, really amazing little chocolate chunk of how sharing a story, maybe with the people that you work with or the people that you live with, about rule number 6 can actually be a really good, humorous way of interrupting a pattern and bringing people into a more useful state. So that's my share today. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye.